How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting, and welcome back to whatever. We are here, and we're on the Kozupii route. So, it's been really interesting because, first of all, Kozupii's way more intense than I was expecting. I guess I kind of knew, but it was still very, it's very interesting seeing behind the curtain. But what's more interesting plot-wise is that in this line, we're kind of getting revealed that she's being constantly harassed by figures in a car who are following her around with a mirror, because mirrors are tied somehow to her backstory or to her fear, and she almost has like a phobia of them. They make her disquieted, they make her want to run away, and when they're pursuing her and showing her mirrors constantly, it's aggravating even more. Now, I don't know if there's like a mirror that's just associated with a bad memory, or maybe it's like seeing herself, because sometimes you just aren't, people can sometimes be very disgusted or ashamed of who they are, what they are, what they look like. And as somebody who's, had a lot of body image issues and a lot of, just of that ilk, I actually kind of get it. Like, I definitely know the feeling of wanting to avoid seeing yourself in mirrors or not wanting to be in pictures because you just don't like looking at yourself. And I still get that, honestly. It's like, it's not nearly as bad. I've done a lot of work to try and be in better shape and take better care of myself. But when push comes to shove, I still avoid mirrors. So I kind of get it, but she's got it to this, such a high degree. It's like almost painful to kind of witness. So we got that. And then Taku is now experiencing something similar where he was being pursued what sounded like with pictures being taken of him. But it kind of was impossible, or pretty clearly wasn't actually happening. But the sound of the pictures and the idea that people were all taking photos of him seemed to be it definitely seemed more like a delusion, and it was hounding him and driving him crazy. So it feels like we're under a similar attack as Kozupii. So really interesting to see how that's going to go in parallel and why this type of attack would be happening. So let's just get right down to it, shall we? Nothing else to do but jump right in, see if we can unravel this mystery a bit. So let's get. Even though I'd made it back to my base, I was still haunted by the sound of those shutters. Moving to a nearby residential area hadn't helped either. Even though it had been entirely deserted, I could still hear the endless clicking and clacking of the shutters. It was as if they'd been seared in my very eardrums. Every person I passed would take out their phone just to get a shot at me. Not one of them said, "Oh wow, please let me shake your hand," or "Ew," as I moved past them. No one so much as grinned at me. Nothing but expressionless faces taking pictures with their cell phones. So I just continued to walk past them, pretending like they weren't even there. Clearly something strange was going on. I didn't sense even a hint of malice nor ill will from them. They felt entirely mechanical. Yeah, some kind of automation, except in this case there was someone actively controlling them. I sat in the corner of my room, legs gripped tightly against my chest as I curled up into a ball. All I could do was continue to grind my teeth out of sheer frustration. It was all him. It was all Shogun's doing. While en route to my base, I'd heard it, the sound of a creaking wheelchair. I'd only heard it once, but I hadn't turned around to check because there was still no doubt in my mind. My hands just wouldn't stop trembling. Glancing at the time, I realized it was already 11 p.m. I spent 5 hours scared crapless. Letting out a deep sigh, I lashed out at him inside my head. I hope you die, I hope you die, I hope you die, I hope you die. The worst part about Shogun was that he didn't kill you quickly. He'd gently wrap his silk cocoon around your neck and cord around your neck, and over time he'd slowly tighten the cord before eventually you would suffocate. And because of that, because I knew exactly how he was, anxiety flared up within me, and I began to dread even ever going outside. Help me, Kozupii. I can't fight Shogun on my own. I don't even have my own D-sword. There's nothing I can do. Kozupii, why won't you help me? I had to think. Somehow I had to come up with a way for Kozupii to protect me. She could read my mind, so I definitely couldn't lie to her. Then what about money? Would she help me if I offered her compensation? That's not good. That noise just now. With a horrible gulp, I squeezed myself into an even tighter ball and strained my ears for the slightest sound. I just hallucinated. Yeah, that was the most obvious answer. I hadn't hallucinated it. It was the sound of a wheelchair. I could hear it coming from outside. I immediately held my breath and strained my ears even harder, trying desperately to hear any noise coming through the wall. There it was. It was outside. Wait, maybe I was just imagining it? Maybe I was just imagining him slowly moving closer and closer to me? I wasn't just imagining it. If he was wheeling around the outside the container. I'd heard his voice. It was Shogun's laughter. He was laughing. In the dead of night, he was sitting outside my container in his creaky little wheelchair, laughing. But it didn't end there. The very next second, I heard the sound of a cell phone's camera shutter. Had Shogun taken a picture? What that taking a picture of? The container? No. It wasn't just Shogun. There were other people there. Not just 2 or 3. It felt like there were at least 10. They were all taking pictures with their phones in perfect unison. The sound of shutters echoing off the walls collided with my ears. Coiled in my ears. This wasn't possible. A delusion like this was that. A delusion. If I peeked outside, surely nobody would be there. It'd all just be some simple hallucination. Sure, the container walls were pretty thin, but there was still no way I could have been able to hear the shutters of the laughter or the wheelchair. Definitely not this clearly. Yeah, there's something definitely weird going on. It's almost like maybe what the device is doing is it's playing off of like his mind. Like remember how like he talked about how Kozupii like can hear his thoughts, right? So what if the Noah, or at least like the people who use like these like alpha devices of the Noah, can also read surface thoughts? And what if they use that to target people with like specifically what's most bothersome to them? Which for Taku initially is like all the attention he gets, that he feels like he gets. But then like as he thought about Shogun, they became Shogun in addition. I didn't have the courage to go outside and check for myself. Fear overwhelmed me, burst into tears, and wrapped a blanket around my head in an attempt to cover my ears. Don't come in. Don't come in, don't come in. Don't come in, don't come in, don't come in. Don't come in. Don't come in, don't come in. Don't come in, don't come in, don't come in. How much time had passed? It had only been about 10 minutes, but it felt more like 10 hours. I threw off the blanket and got up as quickly as I possibly could. I listened very carefully. Didn't hear anything outside. All I could hear was the sound of my PC. So it really had been just a hallucination. Yeah, it had to have been. Just to be sure, though, I should check outside. Make sure there's no way anyone was out there, but still. Even if someone had been there, surely they wouldn't have been there anymore. I positioned myself by the door. There was a padlock on the inside, keeping the door locked. Retrieving the key, I stuck it inside the padlock. But I didn't have it in me to return the key that easily. My heart was pounding out of my chest. My nerves refused to calm. I was terrified, and the mere thought of opening my door absolutely terrified me. This could have all been some total bait. Somebody could be outside right now, biding their time as they waited with bated breath for the opportune moment to strike. I wanted to tell myself that something like that would never happen to me, but it was pointless to even try. I had been deceived over and over again, and I couldn't take it anymore. I was so tired. Why couldn't I just be left alone? Why did I have to endure these horrible, absurd trials? They were just too much for me. Fetch, fetch, fetch! I slammed my fist into the door with a loud bang, and the noise resounded incredibly loudly, and my hand immediately hurt like hell. Not a sound came from outside. There were no sounds of anybody out there. If there was nobody there. Of course there's nobody there. You'd have to be stupid to think there was somebody there. I bit my lips so hard, blood slowly began oozing out, and with that, I somehow found the strength to remove the padlock, and then I slowly opened the door. In an attempt to investigate, I peeked my head out from my base. There was nobody there. It was still as death. Nothing moved. There was no sign of Shogun's creaky wheelchair or his laughter or the cell phone camera shutters, nothing.
誰かいますか?
I waited for a moment, but there was still no response. But of course there wasn't. There was nobody there, so of course nobody would reply to me. That was just common sense. Nervous as could be, I began to check even further outside, shifting my gaze toward any shadowed areas I could see. Yeah, nobody was there. Everything I'd heard, I'd hallucinated. All the repeated, extreme stress that caused me to start breaking down. Yeah, that made perfect sense. I'd gotten scared and ended up losing it.
僕涙目。もうね、アホかと、バカかと。
The sheer stress I was feeling left me trembling as I laughed at my own pathetic state. Mate, look at this dumbass. It was laughable, really. I couldn't help but lol. Like, I love how this is his @channel. Like, he thinks an @channel. That's gross. Man, I was so worn out. Going back to my room, I let Sierra figure soothe my soul. Next, I sat down by my PC and logged into Free Para. That was where I could check on new updates on the Bloodtoon community. Could also see if my friends posted any status updates. Huh? A sense of dread was building within me. Something wasn't right. Oh no. The list of my friends' statuses popped up on my display. None of it is from any friends whose names I typically saw. Arrival at site, inside the rising elevator, arrival, wheelchair, beginning of the festival, commemorative photograph, rooftop nightscape, container wall, sink, shower, double door, stairs leading to rooftop, his appearance. Oh no. The list had been bombarded with a single name posted over and over again in quick succession, burying all the other posts, and Spider. That friend's name being Spider. Did I even have a friend with that handle? Well, I'd be lying to myself if I said I knew all my friends, and I had over 100 of them. So it'd be stupid to make that claim. I looked at Spider had written around 15 entries in the past 30 minutes or so. When I saw the titles of the post, I gulped. Before I knew it, my throat had gone completely dry. For one reason or another, I was struck by an immediate sense of deja vu. When I saw the titles, I had a feeling I knew exactly what the contents would be. It's going to be pictures of him, isn't it? With trembling fingers, I moved to my mouse and clicked one of the entries.
これって
The front of the very building. The post had contained a single image, and by the looks of it, it had been taken by a cell phone. There's no text or anything else in the post, just the image. There's no doubt this photo was of the Kurenai conference hall. Seemed to have been taken that night, too. That can't be right. It was just my mind playing tricks on me. I forced my dry smile, and clicked on another post. Oh, that's terrifying.
嘘だ
God, could you imagine that? I mean, that'd be like going online and seeing someone posting pictures of your house. It's like doxing you. Despite me crying out in disbelief, even I could have predicted what was to come just by reading the title. And yet the horror gave rise to countless goosebumps across my skin, each bump like a stewing bubble of sheer dread. Those noises, they hadn't been hallucinations, had they? The sound of the wheelchair, the sound of Shogun's laughter, the sound of the cell phone shutters? Had those sounds actually been real? Had someone actually been outside my base until only a short while ago, taking pictures and uploading them to them with their phone? The latest post was titled "The Man of the Hour." The timestamp read 12:14 a.m. Right now it was 12:21 a.m. Their last status update had only been 7 minutes ago.
嘘だよ嘘に決まってる
Who was the man of the hour supposed to be? Who the hell could it be? It'd be you. I really, really didn't want to look, but I couldn't bear not to. I'd never be able to calm down otherwise. I quickly stepped my gaze to the door and back and made absolutely sure the lock was on correctly. And right after I did that, scared as could be, I clicked the latest status update. Is it gonna be inside? A picture of me. Just a moment ago. I'd opened the door to see who was there. I thought nobody was out there. But somebody had been outside. Wouldn't it be insane if it was a picture inside his place? Like him sitting at his computer inside his place, like right there, like even after he'd like locked up, it'd be like, holy crap. The one halting her was a classmate of hers, Nino Mia Minako.
折原、ちょっと話があるんだけど。
Oh no. Remember, they all pick on her. Kozo winced at the clear animosity laced in her words. Moreover, Minako wasn't the only one there. 5 girls stood behind Minako, lying in wait. All of them were her classmates, but Kozo was unable to recall their names or faces.
いいよね。付き合ってくれるでしょ
As she remained unresponsive and unsure what to do, Kozo's quivering shoulders were then shoved not by Minako, but by one of the other girls behind her.
ちょっと、なんとか言いなよ。
Feeling entrapped by the crowd of girls, tears began to pour out of the corners of her eyes. Her captors were quick to take notice, growing even further agitated. It just, like, I know that's right, but it doesn't feel right for some reason.
いちいち泣いてんじゃねえよ。いいからちょっと来なよ。
She refused to go with them, for she had a horrible feeling about the events to come, but when they grabbed her both arms, she knew she no longer had a choice in the matter. They brought her out to the rooftop. 10 more girls were waiting up there. Nearly everyone was a classmate of hers. When she realized the truth, Kozo was left deeply confused. Kozo could predict very well what would happen from this moment. She could acutely feel the intense malice directed at her from those present. Kozo shook in fear for the sheer amount of negative delusion flowing into her. Despite her best efforts to endure, her tears simply would not stop flowing.
こいつもう泣いてんじゃん。
うわ、マジ？うざくない？
Even though Kozo had only just transferred to the school, her peers had held nothing back in the barrage of insults. Of course, she was well aware of the bitter hatred the girls felt for her. She try as she might to block out the inner voices in her classroom. The utter animosity they held was something she had not been able to ignore. Why, though? Like, I'm wondering, again, like, I don't want to be, like, saying everything's Nozomi's fault, like, that it all can't be a conspiracy, but it really feels like it. Right here. Like, there's just a wind, but it could be the device. I don't know. But despite such contempt, nobody had ever approached her in this manner before. She tried to run, being surrounded by so many of her classmates left her no route to escape with.
逃げようとしてんじゃねえよ。みなこが話あるんだからさ、ちゃんと聞きな。
Prompted by her classmates' threats, Minako glared toward Kozo with intense hatred. Minako's demeanor was that of a tall, rigid model, proving a heavy contrast to Kozo's small, petite frame.
折原、あんたさ、大輔に色目使ってんじゃないわよ。
Oh, wait a minute. Daisuke, is he our friend? If he is, then this is the first time we're seeing his girlfriend, right? Despite them talking as if they should have known it, the name Daisuke was not one she was familiar with. But those words that would defend her would never leave her mouth. She simply made herself small, sinking to the ground in order to withstand the fierce chaos and confusion.
聞いてんの？うざいんだよ、あんた。人の彼氏に手出そうとしてんなよ。
Kozo frantically shook her head in denial. She had no recollection of this person at all. Then she at last realized that the person they were talking about was her classmate Misumi. If that were truly who they were referring to, then Kozo had never had any intention of leering at him. In truth, it was quite the opposite. His entire ulterior motives were nothing but a source of vexation to her.
っていうか、前から折原のこと気に入らなかったんだよね。ねえ、なんで喋んないの？可愛いこぶってんの？
I don't like where this is going.
はっきり言ってうざすぎだし、ムカつくし。それとも、男子とは話せても私たちと話すつもりないって？調子に乗ってんじゃねえよ。
なんか言えよ、ブース。
Sheesh. They pulled her hair. They struck her face. They shoved her shoulders. There was no escape. They would not let her. Bullying, beating up, Kozui shuddered in fear that those words floated through her mind. Save me, Sena-san. Save me, Takumi-san. Her inner voice cried out, but it was clear that help would not arrive anytime soon. Before she had even moved here to Tokyo, this is how it always been. No matter how much Kozui wished for someone to help her, it would never come. She had no choice but to bear it. If it were only this much, she could bear it. But that thought was just as transient as the last. Oh, there it is. Now I can hear it. From somewhere she could not quite discern, a noise faintly began to echo. The faces of her classmates immediately lost all expression. Each and every one of them reached into their jacket pockets in unison. And then, as if they'd planned it beforehand, they all slowly retrieved something from within them. Each person pulled out a mirror. Held out a handheld mirror. Mirrors of all manners of shapes and sizes. Simultaneously, each and every girl turned the surface of their mirrors toward Kozua. It was like a cult performing a ritual. Within each mirror, Kozua could be seen stricken with the utmost terror, each silver screen reflecting a girl with eyes convulsing uncontrollably. Who are you? Dang. The nightmares that once plagued Kozua began to resurface. She was losing the self that she knew. She could not stop trembling. Although, that's really creepy. Who are you? Now, I do remember this is the trial that she faced in the tunnel underneath the city at the end of the main route. She shook her head violently in denial. Her eyes wandered between each mirror, and her head shuddered and shook. The convulsions seizing her eyes continued. Kozua tried to scream, but she could only muster a feeble cry. Ooh, that doesn't look good. I'll kill you, 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 I'll kill you. Okay, she's gonna go crazy. The dominance of dark, sickly delusions began to enshroud her mind. She then became cognizant of the D-sword clutched tightly in her hands. A faint beam of red light shone across the blade, flickering with a delightful shriek, not a hint of its brutality left concealed. Its mere aura fiercely intimidated all those who beheld it. Everything before it fell to ruin, everything before it was consumed, everything before it was returned to nothing, and now as it settled in her sword rested not in delusion but in reality. Her once expressionless classmate awakened from their trance, greatly alarmed about what was unfolding. But by then, it was far too late. Oh no. Tears pouring down her cheeks, Kozua let out a scream. Her eyes could no longer see. With a single step, Kozua staggered forward. Oh gosh. Effortlessly, she raised the D-sword above her head. At the present moment, it was Minako who was in her path. What came next would be appropriately referred to as an immediate bisection. Fetch me. From the left arm to the right shoulder, her body was ripped apart. In regard to what had happened to the girl, the word slash would have been far too disingenuous. Dang. Sickeningly, extreme amounts of blood burst forth from her body. As she raised the D-sword aloft, this time Kozua staggered backward, as if the sword itself had drawn her back. Her body moved about ardently, almost as if it were dancing. Despite her remarkably petite frame, she swung the gigantic sword around with incredible ease. Despite being far past death, Minako's corpse was further desecrated in obscene acts of violence. Their freshly spilled blood danced in the air along with Kozua, her sword, dyeing the concrete crimson. Kozua snapped off any remaining strength, collapsed seconds later in unison with what used to be Minako. She was sobbing her heart out, tears forcing her eyes to remain closed. Faced with that horrific display, her classmates stared in a daze, their mouths hanging agape. Not a single one moved from where they stood. It was as if they could not comprehend what had just occurred. Swaying slowly, Kozua returned to her feet. Oh my gosh. Her head hung low as convulsive sobs assailed her. Pointed directly at her petrified classmates, blood trickled from her D-sword. The very next moment, innumerable shrieks ripped through the air before disappearing into the sky forever. Oh my gosh. Well, that's gonna be an interesting thing to walk into. Walking as fast as I could, I headed directly from my school. I kept my eyes out for anyone at all. If someone even dared to approach me, I had to run away as fast as I possibly could. I'd been hyperventilating for forever now, wheezing again and again, my throat desperately gasping for air. The sweat beaded endlessly on my forehead. No matter how much I wiped it away, it just kept on coming. I was just going to school so I could get to Kozupii to help with her with whatever the hell this was. Needed her to fight the bastards that were trying to break me. Kozupii definitely do it. She was completely broke herself after all. I wanted to kill them. Shogun and his cronies needed a fetching die. There was no doubt in my mind that the people at my base yesterday had been Shogun and his underlings. They were finally cutting the bullcrap, and now they were going to finish the job. They targeted me because of begun their extensive mission to wear me down, and now they were moving in to kill me in the sickest, vilest, most disgusting way they could possibly imagine. I couldn't take it. I didn't want to die, so I had to kill them before they killed me. That sound again. Yesterday I had heard the same exact creaking sound behind me. I whipped around, wincing in anticipation of what might come, and yet not a soul was behind me. There was no wheelchair in sight. It couldn't have been a hallucination. It had to I heard it right fetching behind me. Was Shogun still attacking me? I broke into a mad dash. No way in heck I was going to stand around all alone. And yet, it followed me. The sound clung tightly to my back. I could hear it distinctly behind me as I ran. Stop it. Get away. Stop chasing me. Don't look at me. I was about to snap. I no longer had the stomach to take another look behind me. I stumbled my way to the school gate. The bell still hadn't rung yet. I was on the verge of being tardy, but I couldn't see any other students here, and I could see the other students here or there. Just looking at another person was enough to make me flinch, but I didn't go into the building. I wouldn't be able to find Kozupii. Steeling myself, I entered the school grounds. And when I heard something once again. But it wasn't a wheelchair this time, it was a cell phone shutter. My gaze shot all around myself. Who the heck? Who would take the photo? Nobody was looking at me, nobody had a cell phone out. What the fetch? What the fetching fetch? I covered my ears, and without looking where I was going, I bolted. Without stopping even once, I finally made it to the classroom. I was about to burst into the room only to frantically stop dead in my tracks and turn right back around. The class DQNs were all assembled in there. My second my eyes met one of them, I'd given up completely on going in. Gosh darn it. This world was plagued with enemies. Every single person was my enemy. All of you should die. Every fetching last one of you should die. Since I couldn't go in the room, I opted just to turn around and keep walking. Maybe a delusion or two about massacring the DQN pieces of crap would cheer me up. I'd only glanced in the room, but I hadn't seen Kozupii. Actually, there hadn't been any girls in the classroom at all. That was pretty strange, actually, but I still couldn't care less. All I cared about was figuring out where the heck Kozupii had wandered off to. Of all times for her to completely disappear on me, she just had to be now. I was still wheezing from before, my breath violently forcing itself in and out of my lungs. When they saw me like that, the other students walking down the hall stopped and stared. Don't look at me. That sound again. Looking back, I saw 4 DQN guys I hadn't noticed before. They all had big smirks on their faces, and each one of them a cell phone and trained on me. Don't look at me. Ignoring them, Kozupii can just kill them later on. A delusion like that sounded so exhilarating. Even the last one of them dying a horrible death. I'd have fetching enough of this world. Wouldn't it be erotic though, like if oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Never mind. Kozupii still was nowhere to be found. I had no clue where she was. Maybe she just hadn't come to school today? But if that were the case, then what was I supposed to do? I really doubted I could fend off Shogun's attempts to break me, especially for a whole day. I've been pretending to be tough inside my head this whole time, but my knees were still shaking uncontrollably, and I didn't stay focused for even a second. I'd likely sink into the floor and stay there. Kozupii, where'd you go? Where the hell did you go? Please just save me. Startled, I stopped dead in my tracks. I'd heard a voice in my head that felt like it come from the right next to me. Someone's inner voice. Oh boy. Kozupii, where are you? Looking around, I saw Kozupii squatting down near the corner by the entrance, cradling her head. The moment I saw her, a gasp forced its way out of my mouth. Her entire body was deep crimson, as if waves of red ocean blood had crashed down upon her. No, it wasn't simply as if. It was undeniably covered in a ridiculous amount of blood. I wanted to scream, but my voice had stopped working. Kozupii, say something, Kozupii! When I called out to her with my inner voice, Kozupii slowly raised her head. Tears were flooding out of her eyes, leaving them red and congested. Oh. Without getting up from the ground, she grabbed onto my shirt, clung to me as if her life depended on it. This is like the sweetest, horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. Holy crap. Kozupii.
何を
たくみさんはコズピーの敵味方
What's that supposed to mean? I tried to ask again, but she just buried her face in my chest and shook her head from side to side, reddish black blood coating her entire body, seeping into my uniform and slowly spreading through it. I'd never realized how small Kozupii truly was. Her body was so fragile, it felt like I might break at any moment. Only when I'd embraced her had I finally come to realize this.
僕はコズピーの味方だ。だからコズピーに助けてもらいたい。
Aww. I only said what was on my mind. I was being fairly selfish, but Kozupi's the only one I could turn to.
コズピーのこといじめない
I don't want to die, so no, definitely not. Good grief, look at this. I'm not going to be a bully to you. The guys bullying me are my main concern. That's what's more important here anyway. I need your protection.
コズピーは守れないよ
What do you mean? You have a D sword.
だってあの子のことうまく扱えないもん
Him? What, your D sword? As I asked that inside my head, Kozupii nodded, then she nestled further into me.
だからねさっきのドカバキクシャーはコズピーのせいじゃ
Uh-oh. Without warning, I was hit with a fierce impact. Images blurred into my mind like an intense montage of flashbacks. The school, its rooftop, the fierce, rusty smell of blood, a sea of blood, endless chunks of meat strewn across the concrete, disconnected, disjointed hunks of flesh I couldn't identify, and Kozupii standing in the middle of it all, her breathing heavy, a D-sword in her hand. I then snapped back to myself, shocked. What the hell was that? That had definitely been the school rooftop, but where are all those other images? Had they been just a delusion? But they had been different from how my delusions usually were. Maybe it hadn't been my delusion, but Kozupii's? I felt like Senna had said something about how Gigliomaniacs can make other people see their negative delusions, so maybe that's what had happened? But placing that aside for now, Kozupii's blood-stained body clung to me. The blood on her was still wet. There were no signs that she'd been hurt, and she certainly wasn't acting like she had been. Therefore, the blood wasn't hers. I was trying to absolute hardest to conjure up an explanation for the amount of blood she was bathed in. There was nothing normal about this. It was utterly insane. Whose blood was this? Kozupii, whose blood is this?
コズピーをねいじめた人たち
Kozupii hung her head. She gently detached from me. Then she looked away as if she was in trouble. She raised her index finger to her lips. To me, it looked like she was sulking about something, or like she was laughing up blood off her finger. Isn't that someone else's blood?
他人の血だよ
A feeling of dread surged up within me. Kozupii, if that really is the case, you went way, way too far, didn't you? The school bell rang loudly, telling us homeroom had started. There wasn't a single sign of any students around us. They had all already gone to class. And so I made up my mind and began to head straight for the classroom. Trying my best to not get caught, I stealthily peeked in from the window.
これって
And what I saw left me shocked. Homeroom had already started, with the teacher standing at the front of the room. And just like I'd seen before, not a single girl was present inside the classroom. No way. I had to be sure. I had to be absolutely sure it all had just been a delusion. No, dude, don't do it. Just leave. Just leave. Run away. Oh my gosh. I took off for the roof and flung open the door leading to it. The first thing that hit me was the somber blue sky, and next, yeah, was nothing but pure crimson. A literal sea of blood. When I hit with the remains of that horrifying scene, the physiological revulsion, the utter repulsiveness, and the overpowering stench, it all pooled together, and I could no longer keep the contents of my stomach from emptying across the concrete.
たくみさんはコズピーの味方だよね
I jumped. When I turned around, Kozupii was standing right in front of me. Tears were welling up in the corners of her eyes. Still soaked in blood, she turned to me and smiled an innocent smile. Yeah, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Couldn't help but run away. I was afraid of Kozupii for smiling in that situation, for killing them so brutally. I couldn't comprehend it. The people who had been there weren't people anymore. They were pieces, and she'd done that to them. The scene on the rooftop had been burned on my mind and refused to leave. It repeated endlessly, looping over and over again in my head, and each time it did, I was hit with the most intense feeling of nausea. I lost count of how many times I dry heaved. I ran all around the school with no real destination in mind. Homeroom already started, so there was no one in the halls. Kozupii wasn't following me. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I was running away the smart thing to do, or should I have stayed with her? Actually, you know what might be the smart thing to do is to get Senna somehow. If Kozupii saw me as an enemy because I'd run away, would I be fetched? If she started thinking of me as an enemy, would she tear me to pieces like she had with those girls on the rooftop? Oh no, please no. But if that were true, what should I have done? Even if I went back to Kozupii now, I had no idea what to do or say. I just kept on running and running, almost tripping out every other couple seconds. The very next corner I went around, I very nearly ran right into two people. It was Misuma-kun, together with one of the DQNs from class who had made fun of me earlier. He looked at me with a clear unease when the DQN stepped in front of me, blocking my path. The DQN had a most malicious grin on his face.
Yo, Espa. お前、ちょっと超能力使ってくんね?
Oh gosh, can't they see the blood all over him? I bit my lip, didn't make eye contact. If I did, I knew I'd get punched right then and there. The DQN made no move to take out his cell phone. If he did, however, I very well might have lost it and killed him, just like Kozupii had with those girls.
クラスの女子が授業をボイコットしたみたいだよ。誰も来ねえから、俺ら今探してるわけよ。でもだるいと思うね。ミスミやミナコが心配みてえだけどよ。どうせ集団でサボってるだけだろ。そう思うよな、エスパー。
Didn't respond, and as a result, a sharp pain ran through me as he kicked me in the hip.
おい、シカトしてんじゃねえよ。
やめろよ。
The second Misuma-kun spoke up, the DQN stopped dead in his tracks.
タク、ミナコ見なかったか。チャイム鳴るまでいたんだけどよ。今はメールしても電話しても帰ってこねえんだ。
Oh gosh. I couldn't tell him about the tragedy that happened on the rooftop. I had no idea who Minako was, but I assumed she was Misuma-kun's girlfriend. Could she have been among the tattered pieces of meat scattered across the rooftop? And what about Rimi? Had Kozupii killed her too? She shouldn't have. Rimi had been missing for a while, and she hadn't been at school either. Really, I couldn't believe I was still worrying about her after everything that happened. What the hell was I even expecting her to do? She was never going to come back anyway, so what was even the point?
なあ、エスパー。お前なんで服に血がついてんだ?
A shudder ran through me. It was the blood from where Kozupii had clung to me and had transferred from her onto me, and now I'm fully covered to cover the edge of my shirt. Misuma-kun's eyes widened and he gasped.
タク、何かあったのか？何もないよ。
That's the second that left my mouth. I whipped around and ran as fast as I could. I heard a voice calling after me, but I ignored it. Well, now you're doomed. I bolted down the stairs. And fell down them, apparently. But in my chaotic frenzy, I lost my footing and tumbled all the way down to the landing. As I lay there on the ground, I lost all will to stand back up again. I would ever be able to find peace again? Why do all these insane, horrific things keep happening to me one after the other?
タク、
Oh my gosh, a voice called my name. I only knew a single girl that called me that, and slowly, timidly, I looked up and saw her hand stretched out before me.
どうしたの？そんなに慌てて。どこか怪我してない？
Okay, I'm glad you're here, but I'm like scared. I don't know what's about to happen to you. I just had this feeling that something terrible is about to happen to her. It was Rimi. Rimi was here.
僕は
I felt tears starting to well up. Not wanting to embarrass myself, I fought them back and took my hand she was offering to me. It was so very warm. Rimi pulled me to my feet.
本当に大丈夫？かなり派手に転んでたけど。
She brushed off my clothes, not leaving a single spot of me untouched.
リミ、どこへ。
Where had she been for all this time? Why hadn't she contacted me? She said she'd protect me.
ああ、私は今日は遅刻。
Today? That didn't answer my question. But when I saw that confused airhead smile of hers, my fears ever so slightly subsided. The smile had saved my life many times before. And when I saw it, I no longer had any need to ask her where she'd been or what she'd been doing. I didn't need to ask her why she hadn't contacted me. Rimi had come back to me, and everything would be okay now. No matter what enemy I might come to face, Rimi would protect me. Or would she? Would she truly protect me? Had Kozupii really just so happened to not kill Rimi? A flicker of doubt appeared in the corner of my mind. It rose up to me like a passing thought. She'd been absent all this time, but she just happened to show up back today, and then she just so happens to be late to school on the day she just so happened to come back on. And then Kozupii just so happened to commit murder on the same day Rimi had just so happened to come in late. No, don't think about it. Stay positive. Rub my temples with my fingers, trying to calm myself down.
なんだか具合も悪そうだね。保健室に連れてってあげる。そこで少し休んだ方がいいよ。
As she said that, Rimi pulled me by the hand.
ほら、行こう。
Did Rimi not know about the tragedy that happened on the rooftop? But wasn't that the only natural? She had said she'd just been tardy today. And the fact that she didn't dare ask about the blood on my clothes, was that just being her considerate to me? It had to be. I think she's trying to get us out of sight. Rimi attempted to pull my reluctant self down the stairs, but I planted my feet right before the entrance.
タク？
She kept on trying to pull me along, pretty forcefully too, but I gently shook her hand off. Turning left in this hallway would bring me to the staff room, and after that, the school nurse's office. From there, if we kept going straight and exited the end of the hall, we'd end up at the sports course outside, after which we'd be at the school gate. I didn't want to see anyone today if I could help it. Didn't even want to walk through the school. Someone was going to find that slaughter up on the rooftop any moment, and when they did, a huge panic would break out. I'd probably end up being the prime suspect since my clothes were caked in blood and all. That was why I wanted to get away from the school as soon as possible. I should just avoid the nurse's office and go straight to the entrance. I planned to tell Rimi about the rooftop and Kozupii, but when I turned around... Oh. Okay. Rimi was holding something sharp and pointed. No, was it a D-sword? It looked like a pair of steel wings. And the tips of the wings were pointed straight at me. Rimi was about to stab me in the back any moment now. Our eyes met. Rimi's eyes were filled with grief. She was the first to break eye contact.
ごめんね。
Softly murmuring those few words, she brandished her sword. She was about to kill me. Rimi was about to kill me. I lost control. The second she was about to swing, I gripped her wrist to protect myself. I was a lazy piece of crap, and I practically never exercised, and yet I still had enough strength to overpower her.
なんでだよ
This B, in the end, had Rimi been another enemy? Had she been lying the whole time? Just like Yua had been back then? Was she just trying to fetch me over too? Because Rimi also one of Shogun's underlings, and if she was his underling, did that mean that she'd been behind NewGen the entire time, and I've been right from the very start?
なんでこんな。
ごめん。でも、タクには消えてもらうしかないの。
That decided it. There's no mistaking here. Rimi was my enemy, and it was her true nature. All that crap about protecting me had been nothing but a lie.
嘘だ。こんなの嘘だ。
嘘ついてて。ごめん。でもお願い。タク、消えて。
ふざけるなよ。僕はどれだけリミのことを信用してたと思ってるんだ。
Dang.
どれだけリミを頼りにしてたと思ってるんだ。なんでそんな簡単に人を裏切れるんだよ。この悪魔女め。
タク、ごめん。
ごめんで済むかよ。
I realized I was crying. A betrayal like this, I couldn't. The pure rage and frustration I was feeling right now, what I had felt when Yua didn't even come close. Rimi had crap all over all the feelings I'd had for her. I'd never forgive you. I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive you. And I'm gonna kill you, gonna kill you. Gripping her wrist even tighter, Rimi's expression contorted in agony, but the pain I felt was far worse. You tore my heart out to fetching shreds. I'll never forgive you. I could never forgive you. I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, kill you, kill you. Oh. I kind of thought that might be what's happening, but I didn't see the betrayal first. But I kind of was like, I got this weird feeling from the beginning. I was like, oh, Kozupi's gonna strike. It happened in an instant. Right before my very eyes, Rimi's figure vanished. Her body was blown to the side toward the shoe lockers and slammed right into them. She'd been done from the moment she'd hit the metal lockers, obliterating them in the process. A thick cloud of dust enveloped the room. At first, I had no idea what the heck had happened. She'd done what you asked her to do.
匠さんの心の叫びね。聞こえたよ。
Aw, that's oddly sweet considering what just happened. Right before me, brandishing her D-sword was Kozupii. Her expression was incredibly pained, sweat shone on her forehead, and yet even despite these things, she still forced herself to smile at me.
殺したいって、許せないって。だから、殺してあげたのら。
Again, oddly sweet in a creepy way, her inner voice threw all of that at me.
殺した。本当に。殺し。
Unable to believe what I'd just seen, I approached the demolished shoe lockers. The D-sword that had used the big Rimis brushed up against the tip of my shoe and was lying on the floor, deprived of its owner. Liquid slowly pooled beneath the sword. Blood. Whose blood was it? Didn't have to think long to know. Eventually, the D-sword by my feet was enveloped by countless black particles and vanished into the air. Rimi was dead, just like that. I didn't have the slightest urge to confirm it. Sadness washed over me, and at the same time, I was left with an inescapable sense of regret. I'd killed my own emotions deep down. Had my feelings numbed me to everything, or had I numbed my feelings to everything? It didn't matter anymore. At least tears had stopped falling.
Kozupii. 僕を助けて。
Right now, Kozupii was the only one I could depend on. Even though Rimi had betrayed me, I still wanted someone to believe in. Or maybe I just wanted someone I could be with, someone who would accept me. All that stuff about wanting to be protected, it was all just an excuse. I just didn't want to be alone. Even if she might betray me, even if I had been betrayed already, I didn't want it to be alone. Couldn't bear all of this awful bullcrap on my own. If I was on my own, I guaranteed I would cease to be me. I would just up in despair. Disappear. Actually, that's kind of true, although not for the reason he's saying. It's because he's a delusion. And if he doesn't interact with anybody at all, he might just not exist anymore. I approached Kozupii, desperate for someone to cling to. When I looked at her, what I saw was how terribly sad she looked, the sheer pain on her face. Her smile had long since disappeared. I made up my mind and embraced her tiny shoulders. She didn't fight it.
さっきはコズピーから逃げたのに。
ごめん。ごめんなさい。それでも、助けてくれ。
匠ちゃんは、コズピーの味方？
Who could say how many people Kozupii had already killed? Who could say what would happen if the police caught us? Knowing all that, would it really turn out okay if the two of us stayed together? I asked myself such a question, but it didn't take long for me to find my answer. Right now, I was together with Kozupii. As long as we stayed together, it would all turn out okay. We had bigger enemies than the police, enemies that were too dangerous to face alone.
僕には、コズピーが必要だ。一緒にいたい。
匠ちゃんは、身勝手な人なの。
Yeah, he is. Upon saying that, she wrapped her arms around my back, and with the little strength she had left, she held me in return.
でもね、 コズピーのこと必要って言ってくれたから、コズピーもタクミさん、一生懸命守る。
Aw.
前に汚いおじさんが言ってたのら、
Like, what?
我慢することないって、負の感情を否定しちゃダメって。
Repudiated.
だから、コズピーをいじめる人みんな殺すね。それと、タクミさんをいじめる人も。
Feelings both cold to the touch and warmed as the sun found their way from her to me. Feelings inside her that contradicted madness, kindness. Whether it was the same way her inner voice could reach me, or whether it was all in my head, I didn't know. Right as that thought drifted through my mind, the girl's scream echoed throughout the school grounds. It had come from the top of the building. As she found the slaughter on the rooftop, we had to run. Kozupii, if we stay here, the police will catch us. For some reason, the moment I let go of her body, she immediately sank to the ground. Oh boy. Okay, now we gotta go. Well, what's wrong?
すごく疲れてるのら、体だるいの。ねえ、タクミさん、コズピーね、心の中に真っ黒な妄想がどんどん生まれてくるよ。
Uh-oh.
押しつぶされちゃいそうなの。
Blackest black delusions? What do you mean? Regardless of what she meant, staying here wasn't an option. With Rimi's corpse lying here, anyone who spotted us would find out exactly what we'd done. So without getting an answer from her, I lent Kozupii my shoulder and the two of us began to leave the school. I don't see how we get very far. We walked through the halls. As nice as it would have been to just leave, we were both covered in blood. Kozupii couldn't walk in her current state, and I had a feeling that if we went outside, we'd get hit with the cops all waiting for us there cliché. It was probably best to just hide out somewhere, even if the empty classroom would probably work. The atmosphere was tense. The scream earlier had kick-started a slowly growing commotion inside the school. Teachers quickly ran by us in a hurry. Students left their classrooms, ignoring the homeroom was still in session, and curiously peered around the school to try and see what had happened. Shoot, there was a lot of people. Maybe it would have been better just to leave after all. We had to hide somewhere. Somewhere like... Oh no. There it was again. That noise again. Stop it. Just stop it. I was going to fetching insane. A few students spotted me from a distance, and not just students, but a few teachers too. Every single one of them had their cell phones out. We were aiming them at us, and for some odd reason, they were all holding mirrors in their other hands. Coupled with a black wrath, and infernal bloodlust sprouted inside my head. Something within me was about to snap. Perhaps emboldened by my bloodlust, Kozupi's heart reeked of its own hunger for blood. It's weird that the voice is so different. Kozupii is reacting to the mirrors. Despite the fact that she was having so much trouble walking, she raised her D-sword over her head anyway. Kozupii, don't do it! Clutching her petite frame, I tried to hold her back. But I couldn't do it. Kozupi's body freed itself with me with tremendous force, pulled along by her sword. Kozupii charged into the group holding mirrors. Her legs tangled with one another, she nearly slipped and fell. And yet she still managed to move forward and swung her enormous D-sword. Holy crap. We're just gonna massacre the whole school, aren't we? And with a single swing, she had claimed about 4 human lives. It was a staggering storm of destruction and brutality. Her movements, her posture were like novices. If she leaned back any further, she'd fall over, yet her sword's trajectory was both abnormally accurate and fast. Her aim was precise as she claimed each and every one of their lives with a single blow each. Almost like she wasn't the one swinging the sword. The sword was the one swinging her. As she bathed in fountains of blood, Kozupii began to cower. Oh boy. Oh, she doesn't know which one's her. She's got the dissociative disorder as well. I could hear Kozupi's current mental state. Her mind was in total disarray, a total chaotic mess. I lent my shoulder to Kozupi once more and clambered the stairs along with her. But the very next moment, we ran into Misumi-kun and the other DQN coming down the stairs. Shoot, these guys again, it bit my lip.
おいおい。こいつら血まみれじゃねえか。
For a split second, the DQN who spoke was taken aback, but the very next one, Misumi-kun grabbed me by the chest. His face was teeming with fury.
のかよ。お前らが殺したのかよ。ミナコ。
Seriously, who the heck was Minako? Noticing my confusion, the DQN held Misumi-kun back.
まあ待てよミスミ。まだそうと決まったわけじゃねえだろ。だいたいあんなこと、よりによってこの二人ができるわけねえって。
All that, they were definitely talking about the slaughter on the roof.
それよりよ、エスパー。
僕はエスパーじゃん。
うるせえよ。口
Oh
答えすん
no,
な
no, no, dude. Oh, dude. Oh, he's freaking gonna die. I tried to tell him that wasn't an Esper, but he wasn't having any of it. His threat caused me to shrink back, feeling unbelievably pathetic. I began to wonder if Kozupii would murder everyone here if I wanted her to.
殺してもいいよ。
Don't do it. Kozupi's mind was a chaotic mess of conflicting, contradictory emotions.
殺すことも受け入れるべきなの。
She should just give in. That was the one thing I could never do.
でよ、エスパー。お前の妹って、お前に似合わず可愛いんだな。ナナミだっけ？
Oh no. What? Why the heck did the CQN know about Nanami?
だからよ、ちょっと可愛がってやったんだよ。
What? You can't be serious.
何を言って。
わかんねえの？
The DQN, acting far too friendly with me, placed his hand on my shoulder. Even though he's a guy, he's covered in the smell of perfume. The smell is so strong, it made me want to vomit.
俺の連れ、だいたい10人くらいでいつもつるんでるんだけどな。ちょっと暇してたわけよ。で、女ナンパするかって話になった時によ、提供してくれたんだよね。お前の妹。
提供って。
Nanami wasn't some fetching object to be offered. What the hell had they done to her? No. More importantly, who the hell had offered them Nana?
ダーススパイダーだよ。
Oh no. All words left me.
わざわざ向こうから声かけてきてよ。お前の妹を好きにしていいとか言って渡してきたんだよね。マジでウケるだろ？
My vision turned bright red. Within my mind, I felt like my blood was boiling, and it billowed and bubbled, rising up in my head like magma.
ナナミに何を？
あ？だから可愛がってやったっつってんだろ？そうそう。妹さ、片手なかったぜ。痛そうだったな。
Jeez. Holy crap. That had been real? If I had come, when I'd come home afterward to check, I hadn't been able to find the hand, so that was why.
なあ、ミスミ。お前も教えてやれよ。お前だってあの場にいたんだから
Are
よ。
you serious?
それよりミナコ。
Forget that. Forget that? What the fetch could possibly be more important? My sister's what matters here, you piece of crap. Don't you fetching dare compare to that fetching whore. Wow, haven't seen that word here before. I mean, not go to my precious little sister.
そうそうそう。記念に写真撮っといたぜ。なあ、エスパーも見てえか？見せてやるよ。
I'll kill you.
画像。
This guy really wants to just die, right? Like
これ。ほら、見ろよ、エスパー。
The DQN grabbed me by the jaw and forced me to look at the image. The photograph was definitely Nanami, but she was covered in blood. Her eyes were hollow. And she was completely naked. Yeah. You know what? The only reason I'm saying don't at this point is because Kozupii really doesn't want to. The knife I'd been gripping dug itself deep into that DQNB's chest. I brought it with me today just in case I needed it, and apparently I myself had stabbed him. I pulled it out and stabbed him with it again. Then I did it again.
おい、やめろタク。うるさい。
Jeez. I pulled it out and stabbed it back in.
泉、お前も死ねばいいんだ。僕もナナミも、世界中の全員が死ねばいいんだ。僕が殺してやんよ。
Oh my gosh. I pulled it out, stabbed it back in, then again and again. The DQN wasn't moving anymore. His eyes opened wide, his mouth drooling blood. He was very much dead.
ねえ、コズピー。全員、ぶち殺してよ。
Holy crap. With a sad look on her face, Kozupii nodded. Her D-sword rose in her hand. They were rebooted with furious, resonant noise, and then Misumi-kun could only stare in shock as they brought the embodiment of mayhem.
Huh?
Sorry, bro. It seems like you were a part of that, though. Bye. With a single swipe, Misumi-kun's head was blown clean off. She had swung her sword so violently she took her loss of her balance and fell right on her butt. Misumi-kun's collapsing body then fell on top of her, soaking her clothes with blood. Despite looking wholly miserable, she pushed the corpse aside, then she looked at me and smiled.
匠さんも殺しちゃったね。
Was she crying, suffering, or simply smiling? With her pained smile, it was a mix of so many emotions.
なんで敵だらけなんだろう。もうやだ。
I know, right? She was sobbing inside her heart. But it was just as she'd said. We had enemies everywhere, so we had no choice but to kill them. That was what they all deserved. I wasn't the one in the wrong here. These pieces of crap that I had attacked were. It was payback for what they'd done to Nanami. Nanami, was she still alive? With all that blood, she was probably long dead. That and her severed hand. There was no way she was alive. They would never get away with this. I'd make a fetching sure of it. I've been on the run for so long, but that ended here. I'd kill every last one of them. Every last one. When I'd seen that horrible, cruel image of Nanami, something inside me snapped, and now there would be no stopping me. Of course you're here. Suwa Mamoru stood up before the gate of Suwame Private Academy, gazing intently at the building. The car he'd driven there was sat alongside the gate with his back leaning up against it. Although he wore a suit, a rucksack adorned at the back as well. Emanating from within was a bizarre mechanical sound. The atmosphere within the school was one of intense, bubbling tumult. One Suwa could feel even from where he stood. The pure hilarity of it all left Suwa unable to contain his laughter.
今日こそ西条匠のコードサンプルを手に入れなきゃっすからね。
Probably. His utterance was not directed at anyone in particular. It was heard only by himself. Around him stood several other men. Unlike Suwa, their attire was far more uncouth and casual, though they all carried rucksacks just like he did. And they were all evidently suspicious, with their eyes remaining glued to the school, and speaking not a word to each other. All that seeped from their mouths were the same mutterings as Suwa spoke, but to no one but themselves.
そのためにこの学校を実験場にしたんすから。もともとここはそのためにのぞみが作ったんすけどね。
Oh. So this place was always a testing ground for Gigliomaniacs anyway. Suwame Private Academy had been founded by an institution backed by both Nozomi technology and the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light. For this reason, the number of Gigliomaniacs enrolled was far higher than normal. The proximity was no mere coincidence. It was simply inevitable that they all had gathered here, and to this they were all none the wiser. Be that as it may, Suwa could not help but let out a faint sigh. Up until this moment, he had employed countless methods of attempting to break the Nishijo Takumi. It had all been in an attempt to gather Nishijo's code sample, but the boy was far weaker and far more pathetic person than he had anticipated, and because of this, the boy would never find the motivation to awaken as a Gigliomaniac. Never would he have thought that one single boy would be so much trouble. However, this would end today.
もう回りくどいことはなしで、とっておきの祭りを提供してやるっすよ。
It's only just starting, Sua? You're freaking crazy. There was no doubt that countless innocent people would die here, but the number of deaths hardly mattered. The Cosmic Church of the Divine Light's founder had said so, and Sua had thus been compelled to believe so. In the end, it really did not matter. The third melt would bring Shibuya to ruin this very day. No matter how many high schoolers died, they would be treated as sacrifices lost in an earthquake, and the truth of this day would be buried beneath the rubble. No one would ever know the murders that occurred here.
さてと。じゃあ行きますかね。
Sua opened the trunk of his car and retrieved his Darth Spider helmet. He put it on slowly and deliberately. When it stood alongside his suit and rucksack, the Darth Spider helmet made Sua appear all the more conspicuous. But this was not something that even remotely bothered him. With an air of utter composure, he advanced into the school. And upon Sua's signal, the men with the rucksacks followed closely behind him, remaining in complete utter silence. All right, we're gonna stop here. But yeah, massacre day at the school. Oh boy. Yeah. No, this is definitely something. Holy crap. Holy crap. This got dark, like real dark, real quick. Now, one thing that's interesting is that because the guy name dropped Darth Spider, I wonder if they're going to actually attack and take out Sua, or attempt to, before like the melt happens. Because that could be interesting. But yeah, I think the school's pretty much going to be a shell at the end of this. Dang. Can you imagine? What a mess. What a mess. Oh well. We'll see how it goes from here. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to being able to continue the story with you. I'll be also like pursuing the other endings on my own, and then we'll go to the true ending after we finish this one, which we're getting to the point where I'm guessing we only have 1 or 2 episodes left of this, depending on how long it is. So we'll have to see. We might be ready to move on to the end pretty soon. So hope you'll be patient with me for that. And yeah, I feel like it like some of these were way shorter than I expected. Like the Senna's ending felt like it took a while, but this one, like the others, definitely went by really quickly. So we'll have to see how this goes, and what we can expect for the future. But guess we'll get there when we get there. Thank you so much for your support, especially for just being by the channel and sticking around this long. I really appreciate the members and the patrons. You guys, your contributions really help continue to fund the channel and keep things going in a good direction. Help make sure that we buff out the edges as best we can, and hopefully we can keep moving forward and making progress. But when all said and done, I think that's about all we got for today. So thank you so much, and until next video, watching me up. See me next. I'll see you there.